Hi everyone and welcome back to National League Lowdown with me, Dan. Like you can see, I'm joined by my regular co-host, Craig. How are you doing, mate? You okay?
Very well, thank you, mate. Very happy after yesterday's result for Braintree, which I'm sure we'll come to later. How are you, sir?
Yeah, very similar. Good result for my team as well yesterday. So in a very good mood today, which is good. Mark, how are you, mate? You okay?
Hello, everybody. Yeah, we had a very battling 1-1 draw against Altrincham in the National League North, Macclesfield, just to give a bit of context. Yeah, battered from pillar to post. And I'll say this, for all those Mac fans who are calling for John Rooney's head, get a grip, will you?
Yeah, it feels like it's a bit early to be calling for managers'
Oh,
heads at the
boy,
moment.
isn't it just, yeah.
Yeah, and luckily for us tonight, we're joined by Ian, Truro City fan. Thank you so much for joining us, mate. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks. Thanks for having me on.
More than welcome, mate. Honestly, like I say, we've been getting as many guests on from different clubs so far this season, and it's Truro's turn. So the floor is yours, mate. How have you found the start to the season? Obviously, it was a massive achievement last season for you, getting out of that league, getting into the National League. It looks like it's been a bit of a shock to the system a little bit to start with. How have you found the start so far, mate?
It's definitely a step up. So as all things, my cat has decided to appear. It reminds me of teaching during lockdown. All my students knew my cat because he always appeared during every time I taught online. Apologies for that. Look, if you go back 5 or 6 years when Truro were in the Southern League and 300 fans there at the time, and then last year or 2 years ago at the back end of we had we were homeless, we moved around the country, we were playing home games in Gloucester, and when you think about that situation, we went into last season one of the favourites for relegation, and then last season no one kind of expects us to be where we were. We were there, we're up. The move back home has been fantastic, back to Cornwall. I think last year we were averaging like 1,800 at games, and our first 2 games this season have been 3,000 people there, which is just phenomenal. We've got a big catchment area, the thing is, you look at the first 4 games of the season, and you see Truro have lost all 4 games, but with the exception of the Tamworth game, that was a poor performance. I was up in Tamworth watching that one. Actually, in all 3 games against Wealdstone, against York, and against Southend, it was such fine margins. Like you go to the Wealdstone game, I think they had about 3 half chances and scored 2. We had 3 half chances and scored none. And against York, they didn't score until the 83rd minute, and the York manager and the York players were all coming off saying that was tough. And you listen to the manager yesterday from Southend. Exactly that. They were saying the same thing. That was we made it difficult, and it's a tough place to come. And it's not often though you're going to start the season playing. That's what I'd say is judge us in a month's time. And we've just gone and played York and Southend, who are 2 of the favourites for promotion. We've gone on a narrow defeat to Wealdstone, who are 9 points from 12 towards the top of the league, and yet across the next month, it is, we're playing Aldershot, Morecambe, Boston, Altrincham, Halifax, Woking. Get to the end of September, and then maybe see where we're at, because the games we have lost, they have been a lot closer than you'd think. Yeah, and if you watch the highlights, you see those half chances, just missing that, pull the trigger, they need to fall, and it's but. At the end of the day, we're still second bottom of the league with no points, but there's only 3 points separating the bottom 9 teams. So it's still to play for.
Yeah, I mean, I watched you against York, and I thought you matched them for 80 minutes. I thought the conditions, you played the conditions well. You knew when to do the long throws, when to do the set pieces. You knew when to keep it on the floor. You knew, you matched them and caused them serious problems. And I mentioned on the podcast after the game saying it was only their strength in depth once they made some substitutions that won them the game. That was the only difference on the day. So I agree. I think the result will come for you at some point. It just obviously how far down the line them results do come as to how much you worry about it. But you've just rhymed off some games there that you'll expect to get some points from. And obviously we know through Mark that John Askey, obviously with the pedigree he's got at this level and things like that, are you happy with the manager and everything that he's got going on at the club at the moment?
Yeah, how can you not be? Yeah,
Exactly.
He came in last year. It's a long way to move. Down here, I think the team actually are based in and around Plymouth because they train up and around Plymouth. It just makes logistical sense. We've got a couple of players from Cornwall, a few from the Plymouth area, a few from the Exeter area, and then trying to bring in players from further afield as well can prove a bit of a challenge. But he's obviously got Stuart Yetton as assistant, who's a Truro City legend, all-time leading goal scorer. So brings your kind of local element to it. But yeah, John and Yetty are doing a great job. And you see the links. Like he's brought in Jake Taylor, who missed all of last season through injury, but John's managed him before, I think, at Port Vale when he was there. So all of a sudden you can see the experience and knowledge of the league that Askey has that enables him to bring players. Because I've always said it, trying to get player recruitment's a challenge at all levels, but trying to get a player, trying to convince a mid-20s player to uproot their entire family and move to the other end of the country and then face 900-mile round trips to Carlisle and Gateshead. That's a big ask. So yeah, the pull of John will definitely play a part in that.
Yeah, I mean, what you said there about the travel. Carlisle had that problem for a long time as well, trying to get players to come all the way up here. We used to have to recruit from Scotland all the time because they were more happy to come from there. But trying to get anyone from one of the big cities, your Londons, your Manchesters, your Liverpools, was always tricky. Sorry, Mark, carry on. What you were going to say there?
Yeah, you did have Scott Burgess last season. I remember him when John had him at Mac. On loan. Where did we get him from? I think it was Bury. I think we got him from. But Tyler Harvey is your talisman. How important is he going to be to getting the results for Truro this season?
Yeah, he's missed the last 2.5. So he played in the first game against Wilston. He missed the York game and then the Tamworth game through injury. And he did come back off the bench at the weekend. And yeah, he's played a lot around this kind of level, but his experience is fantastic. You see when he's on the pitch his ability to occupy one or two defenders. You can tell they're scared. I'm not going to say scared. It's a big word to say. You can tell they're worried of him. They give him extra attention, and the fact that he sucks defenders into him frees up space for others. And he's not the tallest person in the world, but my word, he is so good, like aerially and using his body so well. And you see him jumping early to really put pressure on centre backs. Which you need, because from what I've seen so far, every single team we played against has got two centre backs who are at least 6'4" or over. I mean, Wilston, what is it, 6'5" and 6'6"? They're two centre backs.
Wait until you play Halifax.
Really?
Boy, howdy, they've got a basketball team at the back there.
Yeah.
But now you say about it being a slow burner of a start for Truro and many others. You've obviously watched them play. What do you think is either missing from the team or B could benefit John Askey signing to give them just that little bit of a boost? Who do you think, or what do you think is needed in there in terms of positioning?
I think the big difference I've seen going from the National League South to the National League is just a slight uptick in power. Just players with that little bit more aggression. Not stepping over the mark, but just being quite physical. We've got players who can get the ball down and play. We've got players with some pace. It's just that subtlety of kind of power and aggression and knowing how to play the ref as well. We had in the game yesterday, there were We had 5 players booked, and John Askew was booked. We had 6 players.
No.
6 people booked. We had 6 people booked, and there was only 1 bad tackle all game.
Not Gentleman John, surely not. No. I'm not having that.
Yeah.
I'm not having that.
And yet there was only 1 bad tackle all game, and you're like, it's just the dark arts of football, isn't it? It's just it's that little step up, and you see it at all levels. The moment you go up from National League to League 2 or Championship to Premier League, it's just that you get punished for the little mistakes you make, and if you don't take your half chances, they can come back and cost you. If you've seen the highlights, we had 2 opportunities, one in the 3rd or 4th minute when Dom Johnson Fisher goes through yesterday, and it's like, he pulled it back and he could have shot. And then you see on the 8th minute, Yassinair is in, bobbling ball, he has a shot and he just bobbles it past the post. It's like, you know what? One of those goes in, different game. Yeah. And then you watch the rest of the game and it's just so even from then on. It is fine.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that's, when you're down the bottom and you're having a bit of a hard time, they're the kind of games that you do lose. If you're up the top and you're flying high and you're riding a wave, they all go your way. And it's such a footballing cliche to say, but it's true. And I think, like I say, you're creating chances. I seen it when I watched the York game. Like I said, you created chances yesterday. I think the goals will come, but at what point do you start to worry? Like, I know I said that to you earlier, but I think you mentioned the end of September, and I think that would be a good time to roughly gauge where he's at. And I feel like this is a bit of an odd question because I know what you're going to say, but what would be your expectation for the season? I'm assuming you're going to say just stay up at all costs. Yeah, which is
Every team that comes up, you got to think that. I'd love to sit here and go, oh yeah, we're going to make a charge and we're going to make the play. Look, it's consolidating your place in the league. Whether that is, and quite frankly, whether that means we finish 14th and get mid-table, or we just scrape it by goal difference on the last day and finish 20th. Just stay in the league. Yeah. And because it's all about, for Truro, it's a longer term project. It's like I say, we've gone from 200-300 fans, 400 fans a week 5-6 years ago. At the old Truro Road ground to 1,800, and we've had 2 lots of 3,000 in the last 2 games, boosted admittedly by a large 400 from York, and I think it was 700 Southend brought down. Fair play to them. I think someone said it took me 11 hours to get here from Southend. Bank holiday traffic to Cornwall. That is. So it's safety is the key. Everyone would love a cup run. Everyone wants to like a home game against Tottenham like Tamworth did last season. Everyone, but it's building. It's building because we have to build the infrastructure of a club from scratch, effectively. New stand, new stadium, or something now in the National League, dealing with all the extra travelling, trying to build that from where we've come from. We expanded the seating areas over the summer. We're still, our clubhouse is still a marquee. Our changing rooms are still porta cabins, but 18 months ago, our stadium was a patch of mud. So to get from there to where we are now is really impressive for everyone involved around the back, in the background, behind the scenes of the club. And like I say, I'd imagine attendances will settle down around 2,500. And if we can get anywhere near that from where we've been, that puts us in the top 10 supported teams in the league.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely, mate. Definitely. And obviously, I know Craig had a question for you. I'm going to come to Craig.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. So, if we go back to this time last year, obviously August 2024, you were talking about being probably tipped for relegation from the National League South, and things were maybe not doom and gloom on the inside, but from the outside looking in, there was quite low expectations. When we played you in the 23-24 season, we actually played you at Plymouth Parkway because, as you said, your stadium wasn't built at that stage, and you were having to travel around to different places to play your home games, and it very much felt that you guys were going to struggle. So the question I've got here is, when did you start to believe that actually this season could be really, really special, and when did you finally believe that you're going to go up?
Well, the thing is, we turned up to the first game of the season, and we lost 2-0 to Dorking Wanderers. And there was a bumper crowd. I think there was about 1,800 there that day, first game of the season. And it was kind of unheard of. Truro City are back home, pulling people from all over the county. We've got a catchment area of 500,000 people when you think about the whole county. And yeah, so we never really, apart from that first defeat, from then on, we just kept on picking up points, and we never really dropped from about September onwards. Never really dropped out of the top 6, 7, 8, and then we just inched our way up. Just kept on inching. It was 7th, up to 6th, up to 5th, up to 4th, and we just kept on going. And then you think, oh, isn't this great? We got an outside chance of getting the playoffs. Wouldn't that be amazing? What an experience! And then as the season went on, and we just kept on winning, often in the 93rd minute. We were 1-0 down in February. I think it was when Storm Burt. There was when Storm Burt was in. Our game was played. We were one of the few teams to actually play a game in Storm Burt because our pitch is phenomenally well laid and well drained. And we were 1-0 down, playing against the wind, into the wind, turned around, came back to win 2-1. And then against Hornchurch, it was very similar. 1-0 down. I think one of their players went off with hypothermia in like the 85th minute. It was brutal conditions. And again, the resilience, the never say die attitude of the players, they just kept on going and they pulled it back, like 80th minute goal, 90th minute goal. And then we go away and we smash Worthing, and it's like, whoa, like this is on. We can do this. So yeah, after Christmas onwards, and momentum just kept on building. But I think I said in the prelim, when we lost at home on the third to last game against Torquay, all of a sudden it was out of our hands. We were like, Then we went into the game against Western 1-2-0, and the top two played each other and dropped points, and that was a 1-2, 2-2, I think it was. One of the teams playing with 10 men for most of the game, and after the Western game, we went back to the top of the league, and as you know, that final game of the season was just like six teams all within 3 goals of each other, something ridiculous.
You guys did, unfortunately, for the neutrals, make that final day quite boring, because wasn't it about 20 minutes, maybe less than that, you were 3-0 up? So it was kind of almost
9 minutes.
Yeah. As neutrals, we were looking for a few more twists and turns.
I mean, we had 3,600, 3,700 there that day. 3 goals in the first 9 minutes. There was limbs. It was great.
But I honestly believe now that the National League South is possibly the hardest league to get out of. There's some incredible teams, and then I've wrote down the teams that were in the playoffs last year that you picked the title. Maidstone have been in the National League, had that fantastic, obviously, FA Cup run a few years back. Bournemouth Wood, who obviously did get promoted eventually. Torquay, who on stature are probably a Football League club. Dorking, with the obviously ambitious project they've got there and being in the National League for a couple of years as well. Eastbourne, obviously quite heavily backed financially as well, so lots of obviously ambition there. And then Worthing, who seem to be becoming the nearly men. They've been in their last 2 or 3 years in the playoffs without anything. And then you look at this season as well, you've got the likes of Chelmsford, who have got some more money. You've got Dagenham and Redbridge that went down, Maidenhead that went down, Ebbsfleet that went down. They're honestly, I know we're now talking about this season, but there could honestly be another something similar to get out of that league. So for Braintree getting out the year before and you guys getting out, I really hope we stay here as long as possible, because once we go back down there, it's not going to be easy to get out of that league at all.
Yeah, I think Hornchurch are currently top of the league, aren't they? Played 4-1-4, which are not one of the favoured teams, big teams. But yeah, it's tough. Yeah, so to get out was a great effort. Let's just focus on staying in this league now.
Stay out,
Yeah, definitely, mate. Definitely. So we'll move on to our games that we're going to cover from the weekend. It makes sense to start with Truro, Ian. Losing 1-0 at home to a good Southend side. Again, running teams close. How did you see this game, mate?
Yeah, it's one of those, you go into it, I'm going to say more in hope than expectation, because they are one of the historic big boys. 20 years ago they were playing Championship football. And a big support came down, and we played the same formation as they did, which I think helped us because we were matched up. Both of us played a 5-3-2. And yeah, like I say, those two good chances in the they'd had one cleared off the line after about 3 minutes, but then we had two good chances in like the 3rd or 4th minute and the 8th minute, and all of a sudden it's a different game. And then apart from that, it's very even. Constant. It's just the whole game was so even. And then they get a goal and we push and we push and we push and it doesn't quite break, doesn't quite fall. And I think I think Southend would walk away thinking, actually, that was a very good result on the road against a really stubborn, well-organised team that, on another day could have put one in against us. So, yeah. Yeah,
I agree, mate. I think just from a Southend perspective, found a way to win in a tricky away game. That's stuff that the good teams do. York done it against you as well. Teams will go down there that are maybe going to fight for promotion. They'll look back at those games at the end of the season and be like, yeah, that was a good 3 points. Might not have been pretty, might not have been exciting, but 3 points are 3 points, and they'll stand them in good stead going forward. Craig, how did you see this one, mate?
Yeah, so I'd just like to highlight the fact that obviously Southend are yet to concede in 4 games. That's obviously a very good stat for them. They've obviously got 2 very good keepers in there. They've decided to go one way rather than the other at the moment. But we often talk about how good their wing backs are going forwards. I think it might be time to also highlight how good they are defensively as well. And like you said, that could be when York went down to Truro the other week and won 2-0, and I said it wasn't vintage. We said, could that be a champion's performance? We could easily be saying the same thing about this Southend one, because I don't think many teams will go down to Truro and pick up the 3 points, especially with the style of play. And as Ian said, making it really hard to play down there. Every team's walking off 9. They've been in a battle. So for Truro, I think we've kind of covered it anyway, but don't panic yet. If you've not picked up any points by the end of September or only 1 or 2, then maybe start having a bit of a panic. But just enjoy the ride as well. Enjoy the ride.
One win, hypothetical scenario, we beat Boreham Wood tomorrow, and we're out the bottom 4.
One win, and everything can change. All your viewpoints can change. Football's always, that's why we love it, isn't it? Because it's always so quick to change. It only takes one, wrong deflection or right deflection, and things can turn in your favour. So, yeah, I agree with Craig. I think no need to worry just yet. Southend could be a champion's performance or a performance towards a promotion campaign, in my opinion. Mark, how did you see this one?
Well, you got a tale of Southend, who are one of the favourites to go up. We've put them up there this season in the top 4. But if Truro keep believing in John Askew, because he had a slow start with his last season with Macclesfield Town and ended up winning the league. Not saying that's going to happen with Truro, but I really hope you finish 8th, because that's where I've said you'll finish. And to get the smile off my 2 co-host faces will make my day. It'll make my season. But I mean, Southend have got some. We're going about the wing backs and everything, but then you got to look at your central defenders. Your goalkeeper is only as good as the defence in front of you, and they've been good. But John will turn it round, and now he's got Tyler Harvey back. You'll start seeing a difference, because there's a bloke who can score goals, and he'll get you goals. John, You'll be all right with John.
Their centre back was probably man of the match. But
that says a lot about how Truro pressed him then. I mean, Mac played Alfredson yesterday, and our goalkeeper was man of the match, and that's what he needed to do. So it said a lot about the rest of it, but but that's what it is. If you can, if a star striker or a star midfielder isn't getting man of the match and it's gone to the defenders, then Truro can take heart that their attacking prowess is making that happen. So, but yeah, Tyler Harvey will be a big difference. And I can smell that 8th place coming up. I tell you.
I'll take that.
Yeah.
Me too.
We love Mark's positivity. We love it.
I want the keys to Truro. Me and John Askey can share it.
Yeah, definitely. Next game we're going to deep dive is Morecambe 2, Altrincham won. Massive day for the football club. You know, a week or two ago, looked like they weren't even going to be a football club to be supporting for the fans. Now they've got a full team. They've put a team out there. They put in a performance that probably over the course of the game, they started really well, which I expected. Altrincham kind of came back into it. And it looked all to the world in the last half an hour. It was just Altrincham's attack against Morecambe's defence. But then Morecambe broke away. Ben Tollett, man of the match for me. But he found that killer pass, finished perfectly in the corner, and what a moment! Like it absolutely erupted. It'd have been amazing to be there. The fans absolutely loved it, and I did message Dave, who's been on the show before, and I just said to him, I was like, "You deserve this. You enjoy it, embrace it. These are the moments that you live for, especially when you've been through what you've been through." So massive credit to Morecambe. Mark, how did you see this game?
Excellent start for Morecambe. I mean, they've got a patchwork quilt of a team. You know, they were dragging people in. Joe Nuttall signed for them. I believe it was either late Friday or early Saturday morning. They announced his signing.
Available to play yesterday, wasn't he? Was that late?
Yeah. Mo Sangar, international clearance delayed him. But Ben Tollett, again, we had him at Mac under Mark Kennedy, and well, less said about him. Less said about Kennedy, the better. But Tollett has always been a fantastic talent. And yeah, as I say, the patchwork quilt got the better. But Altrincham, they've got to find a big-time striker. They've lost, as we keep reiterating, they've lost Alex Newby. They've lost Regan Linney. And no disrespect to Jimmy Knowles or James Gale. Gale was on the bench. But they've got to have somebody there. And they are available. Linney was signed from FC United of Manchester. They need to find one of those people, somebody like him, once again, because they will be in big trouble if they don't. And somebody who can replace Newby. I think that's going to be the bigger problem than the actual striker. If they don't fix that quickly, then it's going to be a long season for Altrincham. But yeah, good on you, Morecambe. And I think they're at is it Aldershot on tomorrow?
Yeah, I think so. I'm just looking now.
Yeah.
Yeah, Aldershot.
We will get to Aldershot soon because it's the power of this podcast that's giving them a kick up the bum.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I agree with you with Altrincham. There's two massive holes up front, there now that needs to be filled. Ian, how did you see the Morecambe game, mate? Obviously, a great day for the club.
It's a fairy tale, isn't it? Almost, you know, from being on the verge of effectively extinction. Finally, the takeover happened. It's been well publicised, and then to go and get a 98th minute winner. It's almost a shame it wasn't at home. And it's almost a shame for the fans that it wasn't at home. Fair play to them. It's going to be a tough ask because of the how few players have had on the books. But Morecambe has got a catchment, and I'm sure there'll be players available and around who'll go there imminently.
Yeah, I think there'll be
there's another task. So hopefully the new manager can do that, but hopefully he doesn't do it too well, because from a Truro perspective.
It's funny you should say that, actually. Me and Craig talked about this before we went live, saying about a lot of teams that are going to be down the bottom will probably thinking we just need to be better than the bottom three rather than four. Thinking Morecambe were nailed on to go down, but that's kind of now changed things, and people are now thinking there's going to be 4 positions available because Morecambe are picking up a win already. They could easily get out of trouble now as well. So the bottom teams are going to be on their toes even more now going forward. Craig, how did you see this game, mate?
Yeah, so firstly, obviously, it was great to see them back. We've obviously spoke in depth over the summer about them. It was great to see the Mizumo absolutely rocking for them. That it was a perfect opening day for Ashfir Singh Jahal. He had to throw a team together. We'd obviously spoke a lot about him getting a few players in that he's known from different academies. And maybe that character and the fact they knew him was maybe what helped get them over the line as well. The experienced players that committed to Morecambe and stayed there, they're definitely worth a mention, like Ben Tollett, Gwyn Edwards, all those kind of players. Jan Sonogo, is it? Songo?
Yeah,
Songo.
Songo, he was
Yeah.
good as well. Yeah,
They've obviously had a very interrupted summer to go and then put that performance out as well was a credit to them. Altrincham, unfortunately for them, there was a script that everybody wanted to be wrote on that day, and they had to be the team that lost. When it was 1-1, I think we were messaging Dan and we were saying this is exactly how we thought it would go. But now Altrincham will kick on and win this game quite comfortably, and it just didn't happen. So that's massive credit to Morecambe. But yeah, Ben Tollett fully deserved in the deck team of the week, and I think there was one post that went out that had him in every 11 positions. So a credit to him, a credit to Morecambe. But it's just that one game. But what a one game, what a moment. But hard work's only really just begun for them.
yeah, I agree, mate. I always say nobody does scripts better than football. You know, you couldn't have scripted that any better yesterday for them. So congratulations to Morecambe, and long may it continue for them. But for Ian's sake, hopefully not too good. But yeah, next we've got Brackley 2, Rochdale 1. Now I know there was a few talking points in this one. Ian, I'll come to you first, mate. How did you find this result yesterday?
Yeah, obviously because Rochdale were unbeaten going into it, so and Brackley having just come up from the National League North, it's for them you got to be looking at it thinking it's a great result. We played Brackley in the FA Vars, FA Trophy earlier on in the season. They came down to ours and beat us 2-0, and they looked a good outfit, and so home victory. What they 6 points out of 9, so they've made a good start.
Yeah, I mean, they've won both the home games. I thought, when you come up, your home form's massive. I think they've won both the home games, but my biggest issue yesterday was that I seen Rochdale made 11 changes, wholesale changes. And I do get, the games are coming thick and fast. You've got to rotate, but that is excessive rotation in my opinion. You're dropping your top scorers, your best players, your best defenders, and what do you expect to happen? It just felt like it was too excessive for me, and they got what they deserved for doing that. I feel like they maybe even took Brackley lightly in a way as well by making all them changes. And I'm just going to say this, obviously I'm the chairman of his fan club, but you drop Manny D and this is what happens, you see. So this is what happens. But yeah, Craig, how did you find this game, mate?
Yeah, for me, it's absolute madness by McNulty. I'm not quite sure what his thought process is to rotate everyone. You're going to naturally have to rotate players over this period because you either play Tuesday or Wednesday just gone, Saturday and then Monday. It's 3 games within a week period. But that's National League. You have to find a way around it, rotate here or there. But to rotate the full 11, including the goalkeeper, I don't know why he done it. Maybe he was trying to put some players that he's trying to move on in the shop window. I can't work out the logic of replacing everybody. And once I saw that, I was kind of rooting for Brackley. I was like, it needs to be shown that this league, you can't just rotate your strongest 11 and walk away with a result. So for Brackley to win that was brilliant. You've all touched about it on already. The home form of the teams coming up, the teams that are going to be down there like ourselves and Truro. If you can pick up a lot of points at home, especially in games where people aren't expecting you, so that's got a great chance of keeping you up. And they'll be delighted. But the first goal has got to be a contender for goal of the week as well. It was a great free kick from Haynes, and it kind of really set the tone that Brackley were going to be on the front foot, and they were going to try and match Rochdale, and they got to deserve 3 points. And maybe McNulty will be sitting there today and being ready for tomorrow's game with a massive tinge of regret. And maybe it'll make him think twice before rotating the whole team again. Or even playing some of them players ever again.
Yeah, I agree, mate. If they miss out on something by 3 points at the end of the season, that'll definitely be one of the games they'll look back at and think, I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have rotated as many as I did. And he'll look back with a lot of regret, I think. Mark, how did you find this game, mate?
But tinge of regret is a very kind way of saying Jimmy McNulty was absolutely downright idiotic for doing what he did. I know you got a game on Monday. There's players who want to come in, but you don't change an entire 11 who've now got to go into a game, never played with each other before, in a game against a side who are starting to, surprise a couple of people. Connor Hall is in there, but 11 changes. Make 3, make 4, not 11. That's a stupid thing to do. And as Craig said, this could be the difference between getting promoted or staying in the division. And I know some Rochdale fans have questioned Jimmy McNulty's decision making, but that was just beyond stupid. Really was. And they've lost the game. What did it? What was he having in mind for that? Nothing. There was nothing good coming out of it. Just be sensible.
Well, Rochdale, one of the teams in the National League Cup, made 2 substitutions in the first minute or something.
I think that was Forest Green.
Yeah, I know they did. I think
that was Forest Green, but that doesn't surprise me given the manager. But anyway, I digress.
But yeah, I think just with Rochdale, I think it looked like, it might not be the case, but it looked like they maybe just took Brackley a bit lightly, thought he could get away with more changes than he should have done. No, I agree, and they got what they deserved for it. And most of the Rochdale fans that I've seen online weren't happy with it either. So it wasn't like the fans were taking it lightly or anything like that.
His squad isn't as strong as he once thought as well.
Yeah, exactly.
First 11 might be as strong, but his squad players
quite humbling.
Might be having some tough phone calls over the next couple of days.
Yeah. Let me say this: if he does this more than once this season, he could end up losing some of the top players because they're thinking, hang on a minute, I don't want to work for him. If he keeps making decisions like that, they'll think maybe there's a club out there for me who won't have such a Wally in charge.
Yeah, definitely. Next, we've got Hartlepool 3, Woking 0. Craig, I'll come to you first on this, mate. Alex Reid scoring again. He's on fire. Woking struggles continue. How did you find this game, mate?
Yeah, it links quite nicely from Rochdale, to be fair, because Rochdale rotated heavily, a team in form. Hartlepool were also a team in form. Barely changed. They made a few changes along the way, but nothing major. And they just rolled through Woking. They were the stronger team from minute 1 to minute 90. Jermaine Francis scored a cracking header for a small lad. He can really time his jumps and head of the ball. Saw it many times at Braintree last year. Alex Reid, like you said, keep players playing when they're playing well and they repay you. He scored another goal. That's 3 in his last 3 and a contender for Golden Boot. But Woking, 4 defeats from 4. And I know we've said to teams not to panic yet, but they're not one that was supposed to be down there. They're not one that was supposed to be struggling this bad. So is now the time to panic? I'd still say not yet. But come next Saturday, they'd have played 2 more games. If they're still sitting on 0, 1, 2 points, whatever like that, yeah, I'd say maybe it is time to have a few frank conversations. But who would they get in to replace Neil Ardley? You were looking to probably let a manager go. Neil Ardley would probably be towards the top of your list of the people you wanted to get in. So don't panic yet, Woking. But after Monday, if you're still struggling, then maybe start having a few faint conversations with your players. But I can't see where their goals are coming from. I really can't see where Woking's goals are coming from. So time will tell for them, but they might be the surprise package that we talked about that are down there that we didn't quite expect to be down there as such.
Yeah, definitely, mate. I agree. Mark, what was your views on this game, mate?
Said it last week, and I'll say it again this week. Alex Reid, there's going to be a lot of clubs kicking themselves for not picking him up. And he's scoring, he's full of confidence. Jermaine Francis as well. You know, everybody, when he moved to Hartlepool from Barnet, they went, you've got yourself a hell of a midfielder there. But Reid will be taking the plaudits. They know from when he scored 15, 16 goals at Wealdstone. They know what he's all about. And Hartlepool, a bit silly saying this on a free transfer, but they have got the bargain of the season so far.
Jermaine Francis actually played right wing back yesterday, Mark, as well, from what I've heard.
Oh.
Yeah. He's been playing in 10 for the first.
Versatility. Versatility. We've said this. We've said this about
Managers
3-4
dream to
weeks
make
ago.
transfers.
You know, if you've got that sort of versatility, the versatility that Woking could possibly do with, because their dry toast routine continues. I don't know what it is. They just seem the most uninterested team. I mean, are they trying to get Hardley out or something? You know, I mean, come on, pick yourselves up, try and do something. Otherwise, they will be that dry toast stigma will be hanging on to him, but Hardley won't be hanging on to his job. And if the players aren't interested, he can point the finger at them.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I worry for Woking. It's different to Truro's circumstances, like Craig said, because obviously Truro's just come up. You know, they're expected to struggle. They just want to consolidate. But Woking, you know,
They're an
I
established
think
name.
they're established team in this league. Then they don't look like scoring many goals. Carlisle played them
They're
first
not
game of the
even
season.
trying. They're not
Yeah,
even trying. I mean, come on. I mean, they get relegated from this league, then they'll be down in the National League South for quite a while because of who we've mentioned. Not all of them who we mentioned can go up, and if Woking go down, then you won't see them for the next 5 to 7 years.
Yeah, I think it's maybe by the end of next week, like Craig says, maybe time to worry. Ian, how did you find this game, mate?
Yeah, if you're, what they've played for, conceded 10. If you're conceding 2.5 goals a game, this early on, it's going to start being a challenge, isn't it? And Hartlepool aren't. They've scored 7 goals, and 3 of them have come against a Woking. And as you say, someone will remember the name, I'm sure. But I remember Woking when they went on that cup run and they shot up the leagues going back into the 90s with their bald-headed striker. I can't remember his name.
Tim Buzaglo.
That's it. Yeah. And yes, as you say, big team, and you look at the league thinking, God, what are they doing down there? But as we know, National League North, National League South, there's a lot of teams around that expect to be doing better than they are and being higher placed than they are. So I'm looking at everything from a Truro perspective. We play them in the first week of October. I hope they're still down there.
No, I agree, mate.
They will be.
Rubbing your hands together.
I would.
Yeah, definitely. Next game, we've got Solihull 1, Aldershot 5.
Callum, where are you?
Anyone who predicted this, honestly, give me a lottery numbers or something. But honestly, Aldershot are just giving the people what they want, and they're giving them the money's worth. Lost the first 3 games 3-2. We've been on here. Mark's been saying every week, what do you want to do, Aldershot? Do you want to be good in the league? Do you want to win the FA Trophy? And then they go out and win 5-1 at Solihull. So, Mark, I'll come to you first. This was a bit of a shock for everybody, wasn't it?
Yes, Callum Mosley in particular. I don't know. They're trying to answer the question we posed to them, but they're doing it in such a really, really odd manner. I mean, Solihull, we had our dear friend Griff on last week, and we said about the split camp over Matt Taylor. This did not help him, considering that Aldershot have been leaking goals. They now have managed to just concede the 1 and score 5. It's just very, very. They're a strange side, Aldershot, but maybe now they can actually take a look at what they've done in this 5-1 win and think, right, let's put the defensive calamities to bed here. We know we're better than this, and let's go and start to get up that league. Solihull, I said it earlier, I will give Matt Taylor 90 days to save his job, because he'll be gone. Any more performances like that, he will be gone. And I don't think there's going to be many Solihull fans who are going to be crying into the pint of Marston's.
Yeah, I mean, it just hammered home to me when I seen this result coming in yesterday, how poor Carlisle were on Tuesday when Solihull came up here. and got a deserved 1-1 draw and potentially could have even won it up here. It really hammers home how poor we were that night when I'm seeing Aldershot pick them apart like that. Ian, how did you find this game, mate?
It must be a wild ride being an Aldershot fan. They've scored the most and conceded the most and only won one game. Like, how is that a thing?
Entertainment value.
Yeah. So 5-1's 5-1. Yeah, the fans will have gone home happy, and the Solihull Moors fans will have gone home unhappy. But yeah.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Definitely.
Will it keep going like that for the rest of the season?
It'll probably be back to losing 3-2 again tomorrow.
They'll finish the season scoring like 120 and conceding 125 at this rate.
Yeah, it is. It's value for money, but it must be no good for blood pressure and heart rate as an Aldershot fan, I would assume. Craig, how did you find this game, mate?
Yeah, so as Ian was talking, then I was looking at my notes and thinking, has he seen them? Because he's covered most of the stuff that I wrote down on my notes there, and my little fact that I was going to throw in about top scorers and top conceders. So fair play to him for that one. But just a word of caution for the Aldershot fans. Dagenham and Redbridge beat Gateshead 7-1 last season. One result doesn't define your season. Yes, it's a fantastic one, but if you're still leaking goals, just because you managed to finally put the ball in the net several times in one game doesn't save you. Dagenham and Redbridge had a great 7-1. I remember it because everyone was like, whoa, where does that come from? And this has kind of got the same vibe about it. So just a word of caution for them on that. But I believe it's Ryan Hill now, 4 goals already. Joint top scorer in the league with Luke Norris. Probably someone you didn't expect to be up there scoring that many goals, but obviously taking penalties for them as well. And their attacking style, he might be getting 10 plus this season for them. And having that from midfield might be the difference. If they are leaking goals, he might be the one that saves them. Tristan Abrahams got his second of the season as well, as he signed in from Maidenhead. So some good signs, but just that ear on the side of caution as well, because it wouldn't surprise me if we look at their result tomorrow, or they're playing Morecambe and they've conceded a lot more goals again, although I do have them to beat Morecambe tomorrow.
We'll come to that shortly. The last game...
Sorry, Aldershot come to Truro in 10 days' time.
That's sort of...
So a 6-5 classic coming up.
It's got a classic written all over it, hasn't it?
That's the one, because their fans have travelled halfway down the country.
0-0. 0-0. Definitely. And then the last game we're going to deep dive before we try our new format this week is Sutton versus Scunthorpe. Obviously, it finished 3-2 to Scunthorpe. Scunthorpe carried on their 100% winning record so far this season in the league. 3 wins out of 3. That dynamic duo of Whitehall and Howe again, scoring, assisting. Really positive signs for Scunthorpe. Craig, I'll come back to you first, mate. Obviously, good win for them, and Sutton struggling so far this season.
Yeah, so obviously we've been quite divided on this pod about Sutton. Myself and you were in the good business camp over the summer. Mark was in the bad business camp. So at the minute, it looks like Mark is right. Just things don't seem to be clicking there. They're leaking goals as well. I think, thankfully for them, there's a few teams that have leaked a few more, and they've picked up that unexpected point against York, that they're not quite as far down as perhaps they could be, but they're conceding goals and not looking like they're going to score that many, which could be a bit of an issue going forwards. Obviously, went down to 10 men at 3-2 as well after going 2-1 up, so they look like they kind of turned the tide, and then it all went dramatically downhill for them. But yeah, Scunthorpe, we're obviously talking about that rotation, didn't play midweek, so we're probably slightly fresher than the other teams, which seem to have made a little bit of a difference. But again, I feel like I keep praising him now, and I don't like it. But Mark has mentioned, obviously, very early on the firepower that Scunthorpe have got, and that seems to be coming to fruition so far this season. And I think all of us backed them to be our highest finishing promoted team, and on the evidence, there's nothing that's going to change my mind on that one.
Yeah, I agree. I think it makes sense to move to Mark next.
I don't
Mark's
like
looking very smug in the corner there. Scunthorpe, you called it Danny Whitehall. You called it. Obviously, what was your take on this, mate?
I don't like giving me praise. God, dearie me. A broken clock is right twice a day, my friend. They've, yeah. I mean, I did see Callum Roberts get booked in the third minute. I thought, don't do nothing stupid here. But I'll go back and Declan Howe. Matt faced him when he played for Gainsborough last season. Possibly didn't get as many goals as people were expecting to at Gainsborough, but this move to the full-time side of the game has done him absolutely no harm at all. Danny Whitehall, a 2-year deal, give him a 4-year deal, keep that man, keep Roberts, reward Declan Howe. We'd have to get the clips of how many times I've said that Sutton were way too early doing their business. I will stand by that. Even some of the critiques on Twitter, X, whatever the hell you call it now, are starting to realise what I've said. But Scunthorpe, again, I'll put it like this. They're another one of these clubs that have got to think, right, we've got to get out of this league. We've been here way too long.
Mm-hmm.
And they've gone and done the business that Sutton should have done. But again, the goals conceded, goals scored, you're going to get that. I mean, it's not on an Aldershot scale here, but Scunthorpe looking real good, looking really good. And thanks to that front three, Roberts on the wing and Declan Howe and Danny Whitehall up front, yeah, they work for me, brother.
Yeah, yeah, they work for you, brother. Ian, any thoughts you want to add on that?
Well, as a newly promoted team like they are, I'm looking at them a bit jealous because they're 3 from 3. But yeah, that they are one of those kind of, as you say, those they've always been a league team to me, and then all of a sudden you see them thinking National League North, okay, they're out of that, and there is that pull, good recruitment over the summer. They've got goals in them, 3 from 3, and yeah, I know obviously Sutton United. Probably looking at it thinking, God, we're also a big team. We should be up there. But I've heard many people tip Sutton to be down the bottom end. They've only got 2 points, so I'm eyeing them up because they're one place above us on the table.
You've got them firmly in your sights. But yeah, very impressive start from Scunthorpe for me. Definitely a team to watch, but we did call that on here on our prediction show before the season started. So we're going to try something new on the show, which is we've covered obviously some games. Instead of deep diving every single game, we're going to do a 5 in 5 minutes today. It's Craig's turn this week. Craig's going to go first. I'll do the next one, and we'll take turns between us. So Craig, take it away, mate. The floor is yours.
Excellent. So 5 in 5 minutes. Start the timer if anyone's got one. So let's start with Braintree versus Yeovil. Braintree 1, Yeovil 0. Kamara in the 77th minute. I managed to commentate this one for the Zone. Yeovil started in a 3-4-2-1, and for 10 minutes it caused Braintree a lot of havoc. Once Braintree got control of it and got a handle on it, they were the better side comfortably. Chances at both ends before the super sub, Shahid Kamara came on and won the game for them. And then Mason Terry with 3 massive saves in added time, which made me nominate him for the team of the week. But Dan got his way and Breeze got in over him. So we won't talk too much about that one. Moving on, Eastleigh 2, Boston 0. The Aaron Blair show, someone we've talked very highly on this show. I had him as one of my one-to-watch marks. Again, I feel like complimenting Mark again. Mark's been singing his praises. Started with slowly over 2 games, but then won a penalty and converted it in the 76th minute. And then a poacher's finish in the 88th, where he was actually holding the ball up out wide, played it in, and then he drifted in at the back stick completely unmarked and headed it back across goal to get them back-to-back wins. For Boston, that's now back-to-back defeats, so they're starting to maybe look under their shoulder, but a win on Monday, and suddenly, as you said, the fortunes will feel a lot brighter and turn very quickly. A game that just missed out on our deep dive, Halifax versus Forest Green, 2-1 to the away side. Bamber gave them a lead for a good finish, but then a fantastic free kick from Turner Cook on his second appearance for Halifax got them right back into it. It's a very even game, but as we said about the teams at the top, they found a way to win, and that's what Forest Green done through Mitchell for a good cutback, and he's rolled it in the corner, and then they controlled it from there. But a very even game, but the teams at the top always find a way to come out on top. The next game was Gateshead 2, Tamworth 1, a double for Flint. 2 excellent poacher finishes, despite being a midfielder. He knew where to be at the time. 2 fantastic finishes. Tamworth, a team obviously I've tipped to be down there. So one that I expect Ian will be looking at their fortunes at quite a few times this season. I will be as well. Grabbed the consolation late on. Gateshead, who we've been worried about the way they're playing at times, have found a way to manage to grab 2 wins from their first 4 now. So maybe not the panic stations we thought after that catastrophic defeat to Southend on opening day. They've kind of weathered the storm. Tamworth obviously picked up their first victory in midweek, but couldn't build on it yesterday. And the final one, Wealdstone 0, Carlisle 1. Armstrong in the 18th minute. He scored again after having an early one ruled out, which for me shouldn't have been ruled out. So it's good to see him get his run again. Someone we've talked highly about on the pod after some loan spells and some mixed times at Carlisle. Seems to have hit the ground running. Regan Linney not on the score sheet here, but you can really see that connection building between the 2 of them. Wealdstone, I thought, though, credit to them, played really, really well in that game and had chances as well to equalise. And on another day, they could have got a point from that one, but they'll be delighted with their start. 9 points from their first 4. Obviously, 3 of them games being at home due to Halifax having to be turned because their pitch wasn't ready. But yeah, Carlisle still unbeaten, but probably a little bit below where they want to be. But good for them to get this game over the line after not being able to get the last 2 over the line. And that is my 5 and 5. So I will open the floor if anyone thinks I've missed anything.
No, I think you nailed it, mate. I think that, to be fair, it was only like 4 minutes. You done well there. So, like I say, just a new format we're going to try out, just because we talk a lot, and it's like there's so many different games, there's so many situations. So if we can do rundowns of some games that maybe didn't have as much eventful things happening, just on the Carlisle game, I thought Wealdstone acquitted themselves very well. Second half in particular, I think they were arguably the better side. If it wasn't for Breeze in goal and potentially Thomas and Mugabe in defence, I think it could have been a different story on the day. But Carlisle should have been out of sight by half time. We had 4 or 5 clear-cut chances. But yeah, you done well there.
I'm going to put a question to you, Dan.
Yeah.
What's your stance now on Terrell Thomas? Because we'd established in the first couple of games he played more like Terry Thomas, didn't he? So
Yeah, I mean, he was very good yesterday, and I'm a firm believer with any footballer. Give them credit when they play well, criticise when they don't play well, and don't build some sort of if I think he's rubbish and then that's it, that's the end of it. He played well. I do have my reservations over him. I think when Morgan Feeney's fit, Morgan Feeney should start. But Thomas played well yesterday. He was my man of the match. Him or Breeze were my man of the match. So I think credit where it's due, but I still think he's got a lot to prove because of the last year or so.
Made a big difference for him. Obviously, Aaron Hayden and is it what's his name? Sorry,
Beavis Mugabe. Yeah, he's improved the defence himself. Aaron Hayden wasn't particularly playing well. Him or Thomas could have been dropped, to be fair. But Thomas is captain at the moment. But I do think when Feeney's fully fit, we might see Thomas being rotated potentially, and Feeney and Mugabe being.
Terrell.
Yeah, but again, I'm a firm believer. Credit where credit's due. When someone plays well, praise them because they get enough criticism. So big them up when you get the chance. That takes us nicely on to our predictions. Craig, do you want to talk us through the predictions from Saturday?
Absolutely. I thought you might wanted to do it today, mate, because you had a very successful week this week just gone. Yes, Dan did get. I'm just going to get them up to make sure I've got them correct. But Dan did get 3 perfect results, which I'll let you. While I'm getting out, Dan, if you could tell me that your 3 correct results, that'd be perfect.
Yeah, it was Forest Green 2-1, Gateshead 2-1, and Braintree 1-0, I think.
Correct. I've managed to just get it up now. Yep. So three of Dan's correct. I managed to nab 2 perfect results as well. 2 of the ones Dan mentioned. I did back my own team to win 1-0 at home. So a double delight for me on that one when that one came in. And I backed Gateshead at home to Tamworth 2-1. Mark picked up a 3-0 victory for Hartlepool he agreed with against, as he calls, the Dry Toast Brigade in Woking. And our guest also picked up a correct result, and he backed Forest Green 2-1 away at Halifax. So that has changed the standing slightly. So I have took my crown back this week and gone into top place with 59 points. The guests are now on 57. Dan is on 50 and Mark is on 40. And back to Dan for this week's fixtures.
Yeah, I've made up some ground there, and I've cleared myself from the relegation zone for now. But I'm sure Mark will catch you up.
For now, I'm on your tail, pal.
We'll see after tomorrow. see after Monday's games. But yeah, so we'll go through the predictions again. We'll just quickly fire around. First game we've got Aldershot versus Morecambe. I've got 2-1 Aldershot. Sorry, Morecambe. Craig.
Yeah, I think the lack of depth in their squad and probably the highs and the emotion of Saturday will come back to, unfortunately, make Morecambe struggle a little bit here. We know Aldershot have got goals, so I'm going to go 3-1 Aldershot.
Yeah. Ian?
Yeah, you've just taken the words out of my mouth. 3-1 for exactly the same reasons. Aldershot, free scoring. And yeah, Morecambe, their squad shortages might catch up with them. But 3-1 Aldershot.
Yeah. Mark?
You're going to think I've absolutely lost my mind once again, but I'm going to go 3-3 because Aldershot score, they also concede.
Value for money.
They don't know, well, value for money, but how much money do you want to consider value? And Morecambe, they're not going to have a clue about them. So you're talking about the leaky defence against the unknown quantity, a 3-3 classic, which now is going to turn into something else because it always does.
Yeah. We've got Altrincham against Solihull Moors next. Ian, I'll come to you first, mate. What have you got for this one?
Score draw. Both teams with 3 points. They pretty much scored the same, conceded the same. So yeah, money's on a score draw. 1-1.
1-1.
1-1. Yeah. Craig?
Yeah, I feel like me and Ian in quite good sync here. I think 2 teams that are probably struggling, maybe even both take the point if we offered it right now. 1-1.
I've got 1-1 as well. Have we got a full house, Mark?
No, we haven't. 2-0 Altrincham, because something's got to give in that, and they're gonna apply more pressure on Matt Taylor, who's under enough as it is. Maybe his breaking point. Jimmy Knowles to score again.
Yeah. Boreham Wood versus Truro next. Makes sense to go to Ian first on this one. No pressure, Ian.
Our league rivals from last year. Obviously, we played them twice last year, and this is one of those. I would have said this would be a Truro win, but Boreham Wood didn't play at the weekend because York's game. They were meant to be playing away at York, and their game was cancelled for the Rugby World Cup.
Yeah, women's rugby.
They will be fresher. So we played Southend on Saturday. We'll have probably travelled up today to get to North London. I'd love to say I'm going to say a score draw 1-1 purely because of the fact that we played Saturday and they didn't.
Yeah, Mark.
1-1, and yes, that reason Boreham Wood will be fresher. Luke Norris, who's on fire at the moment, doesn't matter if he's had a rest. That is going to prove to be a bit of a bad thing for any team if a fresh Luke Norris is coming for you. But yeah, 1-1, and it's going to give it a little bit of a kickstart to Truro's season.
Yeah, I've gone negative, I'm afraid, guys. I've gone 2-0 Boreham Wood.
You would.
Yeah, well, I want to see what Craig's got as well. Craig?
Exactly the same as Dan.
Yeah.
Oh, dear God.
I had a feeling.
I think the freshness, as you said, will make a big difference. I also went to Boreham Wood last Wednesday to watch Braintree and was fairly impressed with what I saw from them, especially when they got ahead. They managed to control the game very well. So if they get ahead, I do feel for Truro in this one, especially with the Tyrant legs. And we saw when Truro played Tamworth after putting a lot into the York game that they didn't hit their levels. And I expect it might be the same after putting a lot into the Southend game that they won't quite reach their levels.
Maybe we'll do a Rochdale and change all 11 players. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe.
John Aske's not that stupid.
Next, we've got Boston versus Wealdstone. Craig, what have you got for this one?
I'm a firm believer in home form being massive, and so for that reason, I think Wealdstone are going to go back-to-back with their defeats, and I'm going to go 2-1 Boston.
I've got 2-1 Boston as well. Similar reasons, but I think again Boston are due a win, and obviously at home, Wealdstone see how they react to losing to Carlisle, first loss of the season. See how they get on, but 2-1 Boston for me. Mark,
2-2. 2-2.
Entertaining game.
No other reason, just 2-2. It's fun to say.
Ian,
So 2-1 Wealdstone.
Nice.
You know, they as you say against Carlisle should have scored 2 or 3 in the first half. As you say, they came. Wealdstone came back in the second half. So yeah, 2-1 Wealdstone.
Yeah. Carlisle versus Braintree. Craig already knows my prediction because I put it in my blog, but I've got Carlisle 2-0 here. Mark.
And I'm not going to get Craig back on side here anytime soon, but I do believe that it's going to be 1-0 Carlisle. I think Braintree will make it just a little bit more harder for them.
Yeah, Ian.
2-1 Carlisle. It's a long way for Braintree to go.
Yeah, definitely,
having just played at the weekend. I mean, they both played at the weekend, but that's a long way to go.
Yeah. Craig.
Yeah, so I think we went full strength on Saturday, so I expect a little bit of rotation here with our squad because I think we see it almost there's a little bit of a free hit. Our away travel has been very, very poor. So I'm backing Carlisle. Unfortunately, I'd be willing to be proved wrong. I'll be delighted to be proved wrong. But I feel like me and you are very in sync today, Dan, which I'm not sure is a good thing for me. It's
not a good thing for you, mate. it's not a good thing. Next, we've got Forest Green versus Eastleigh. I'll go first for this one. I've got 3-1 Forest Green. I think Forest Green are probably the best team in the league at the moment. They seem to just be finding ways to win, and I know Eastleigh have turned a corner, but I think this might be too big of a corner for them. Craig, what have you got for this one?
Same result, but different score. 2-1 to Forest Green.
Yeah, Mark.
1 each. We know Forest Green have got this squad of about 400 players now, but Eastleigh, they need to turn their quality on, and if you're going to show what your team is made of, go up against one of the big boys. 1-1.
Yeah, Ian.
I'm going to go 3-0 Forest Green. I think, as you say, big squad, and yeah, so I think that would just be too strong for them.
Yeah, definitely. Rochdale versus Sutton next. Mark, I'll come to you first.
Well, if Jimmy McNulty doesn't have some sort of breakdown and decides to change, keep this 11 that he had, get Manny D back in there, get Sam Beckwith back in there, get everybody who's won you the games back in there. Sutton, 4-0 Rochdale if he puts the correct team out. If he leaves Saturday in, it won't be 4, but if he gets his regulars back in, 4-0.
Yeah, I mean, I've got 3-0 Rochdale because I'm assuming that the reason he's rested them is to save them for this game. That can be the only logic. Well, it can be the only logical reason. So I've got 3-0 Rochdale. Ian?
Yeah, 2-0 Rochdale. They'll change all 11 again, won't they?
You would assume so. Yeah.
They'll bring back in the 11 that played and won last weekend. So
yeah. You would assume so.
Sorry. So yeah, 2-0 Rochdale.
Yeah. Craig?
Yeah, nothing to add, and I agree with Ian. 2-0 Rochdale.
Yeah. Next, we've got Scunthorpe Halifax. Craig, I'll come back to you, mate. What have you got for this one?
Yeah, I can see Scunthorpe keeping their 100% record here. Halifax have improved over the last couple of weeks, but I think the firepower that Scunthorpe have got will lead them to a victory. It will be narrow, though, 2-1.
Yeah, I've got 3-1 Scunthorpe. I expect them to win again. And they've been scoring goals for fun, really, haven't they? So I'm thinking 3-1. Ian?
2-0 Scunthorpe. Yeah, they played
Yeah.
3-1-3, and Halifax played 4-1-1. So yeah, 2-0 Scunthorpe.
Yeah. Mark?
Apologies to Sam Johnson here, and apologies to you, Dan, because I've got 3-1 as well.
That's all right. If we're both right, it means I can keep the gap. Yeah. Southend versus Hartlepool next. I think this could potentially be a very good game. Mark, what have you got for this one?
A game of the day for me. Something's got to give, but it won't. I'm going to go 1-1. Too hard to call.
Yeah. Ian?
This is one of those. You could make a count and a case for Hartlepool narrow win, draw, or Southend narrow win. Really, it's not impossible. So I'm going to sit on the fence and go 1-1.
Yeah, I've got 2-1 Southend. I just think it's a long trip down there for Hartlepool. Could potentially come unstuck with Southend's quality. Craig?
Yeah, so two teams that haven't conceded yet. And I'm going to go with that's going to remain the case. 0-0.
That's funny. I did think 0-0, but I thought, nah, surely not. But you could be right there, actually. Next, we've got Tamworth versus Brackley. I'll go first. I've got 1-0 Tamworth. I'm thinking Tom Tonk's long throw in off someone's backside, 1-0. I just think it's got it written all over it, to be honest. I really do. I think Brackley's home form is going to be massive, but away they're going to struggle. Ian, what have you got next for this one?
Yeah. Tom Tonks, that long throw is a weapon. We were there last.
Lethal weapon.
But you know what? They kept on launching it in from all over and never really created chances from the long throw. But I'm still going to go a 1-0 Brackley win.
Yeah, Craig.
Yeah, home form for Tamworth will be massive this season. I'm slightly pessimistic for them, but I think this is a game they'll be looking to win, and I think they just come out on top 2-1.
Yeah, Mark.
Gonna go with Ian here. 1-0 Brackley. Connor Hall. He's gonna like scoring in this league.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough. Woking versus York next. Mark, I'll come straight back to you. What have you got for this one?
Oh boy. Dry toast against some of the most pedantically supported club in the league. But the pedantic supporters are going to be happy because York are going to go down there and they're going to win 3-0.
Yeah. Ian?
Yeah, and you throw in the mix as well that I agree 3-0, but you throw in the mix as well that York didn't play at the weekend. So they are
exactly.
Yeah.
So, Craig?
3-0.
Yeah, I've gone fairly similar, but only the 2 goals in it, 2-0.
Yeah, I've got 2-0 as well, but it wouldn't surprise me if it's more than that. Sorry, Craig, but it wouldn't surprise me if it's more than that as well. It could be 3, it could be 4. It might only be 1, but I do see York.
You're down there in Woking's position. The last thing you want is a fresh York side coming down.
Yeah, with all them attacking options.
And I'll go with this. If it does get to more than 3 goals, expect a sacking Tuesday morning.
Maybe. And then last we've got Yeovil versus Gateshead. Mark, I'll come to you first. What have you got for this one?
It's a long way to Yeovil from Gateshead, and 0-0.
Yeah, Craig.
They're entertaining nobody.
Craig.
Yeah, so I've been talking to a few Yeovil fans, obviously after playing them yesterday, and we said if Gateshead take the lead in this game, it's going to be a very, very toxic environment because they are slowly getting more and more supporters into the Cooper out camp at Yeovil. I do think they might scrape this one, but it could easily go either way. So I'm going to go 1-0 Yeovil.
Ian?
I'm going to go 1-0 Yeovil as well. They're not. Neither team or Yeovil are not prolific. They've only scored 2 goals so far this season. But Gateshead, long journey. Yeah, would you believe Yeovil is our closest team? 280-mile round trip we've got to do to Yeovil. That's our closest game this season.
Nice.
I think it's about a 380-mile round trip is our next closest to Forest Green. It's crazy.
Wow. Yeah. Nice. Sorry to disappoint Craig, but I've got 1-0 Yeovil as well.
If we have the same, you'll never catch me. So
I know, but I just know that you'll be devastated because you know how wrong I can be sometimes. So yeah, but yeah, I've got 1-0
You just
Yeovil
want to
as well.
see me bottom, don't you? Come on, admit it, live in front of everybody.
This is why sometimes I'll go first, just so people don't think I'm just hearing everyone's decisions and then copying
6
them.
out of 12, Dan. 6 out of 12, we've gone identical.
All right, so that's 6 out of 12. We're probably not going to get right then. I mean, that could be good for you. To be fair, it means Braintree's going to win at Carlisle, maybe. But yeah, like I say, that's the predictions done. Callum will post them up on the social media. That's us done for this one. Obviously, good luck to all the teams tomorrow or Monday, well, depending obviously when you're watching this. Thanks to Ian for joining us. Much appreciated, mate. Where can we find you? Are you on social media or anything?
Not prolifically.
No, that's fine, mate. Yeah, no problem. Like I said, I always just give the person a chance to shout themselves out if they're on anywhere, but no problem. Thanks to Craig, thanks to Mark for joining us as always.
Pleasure.
It's another hour and a bit flew by, and thanks everyone for watching. See you again next time.